Welcome to the Interstate Mets Report with your hosts, Nelson and Chris.
All right. Can you hear me? Am
Yes.
I good? All right, we ran into some technical difficulties. I'm not sure why that stream ended. So hopefully people find this. I don't know if you want to shoot the link out again, Nelson, but we had
I'm trying.
Patty
Yeah,
and
I'm
Stevie
trying to.
on over here. So apologies for the technical difficulties. This always happens on a Friday, and it's just the nature of the business, I guess. It's technology and it's inevitable. So but anyways, we got Nelson. It's actually probably a blessing because now we have Nelson all ready at his house and set up. So we're set up for success now. Hopefully, if we cut out again, we're calling it a day because listen, it's you can't keep going on like this. But
if we cut out again, it's a sign that we just need to cut our losses and we're done.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna start in reverse order, Nelson, because I had already started talking about while the other stream cut out. I had already started talking about Vientos and Mauricio. So let's start off in reverse order here. Whoops. We'll start off with Mark Vientos has been having a little bit of a hot spurt recently. Obviously, a multi-home run game in Miami. Um, He's seeing the ball really well, it seems like. He is top 5 in the league in average exit velocity, a la JD Davis, which we all know means jack squat, but it's nice to see from a rookie who's been struggling so far this season, throughout the season. Obviously got sent down. Sort of another guy like Ronny Mauricio that is positionless, and the Mets are trying out every which sort of combination that they can. Have you noticed anything different in terms of what Vientos is doing, or is it just that he's gaining a little bit more confidence? Obviously, he had the post-game press conference quote that more reps helps, and we've already discussed that. We knew from the start when they called him up, we knew that he needed the reps. And everybody knew that. It just seemed like Buck Showalter didn't know that. So it's good that he's finally starting to get those reps. Is that what it really is? Do you see Vientos being anything more than what he's currently shown on the Mets, or are you still not really sold in terms of these September numbers?
I mean, it's tough to say. It is September. There's an old adage where you kind of got to not buy too much into what you see in um early in the season or to finish the season, because usually that's things tend to be a little skewed. You got weird things going on with the playoffs and teams playing weird guys. And granted, we've been playing a lot of teams that are actually trying, so it's not like we're playing a lot of teams that are throwing like scrubs at us. So he's facing decent pitching. These teams are trying to win these games, so we got that going for us, and he's got that going for him. I don't know, man. I'd love it if he has turned the corner. The only issue with him is he's not a defender. Like that has been proven to be true. And I don't know, like, are they gonna let him run with a DH spot? I find it hard to believe when we're trying to win games again for real that they're gonna throw him out there at third base, because just no.
It's not happening. Yeah, it's
And
not
he's not a
happening.
first baseman, and he's not an outfielder, so you're pretty much locked into, does he almost has to be the DH, and I don't know if we're ready to commit to that. So I don't know. It's good to see. I like it. I have to laugh because Josh has given us a Rockies update that I saw on the side there.
Thank you, Josh.
Running joke season has been that Josh is our Rockies correspondent. He shows up on occasion and throws us Rockies news. But yeah, man, I mean, it's good to see. You definitely prefer to see that than the struggles. You prefer to see that than what Beatty's been doing. Beatty's kind of given us reason to believe he might not be a player at all. So yeah, I like what we see so far, and I hope he continues it, and I hope he continues it in the next season, or maybe he's trade bait. You got an off season to come. You got a lot to consider, a lot of guys for not a lot of positions, so he could be playing himself to his next team. So we'll see.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you have a guy who's killing in September, we wanted this to happen to a guy like Vientos, a guy like Jeff McNeil, because you build that trade value, um, at least a little bit, right? It's not gonna be something where you're gonna fool other teams in terms of creating a
Yeah.
whole different narrative of what you really are, but it helps to finish the season strong. And we'll see what happens. I mean, like I said, Vientos doesn't have a long-term position on this team. I think Ronny is a little bit more locked in to be that kind of guy who'll be here long term, but he's also not safe this offseason as well. So it's like there's going to be a lot of moving variables. And in addition to Josh in the comments, we got Coffee Milk here as well saying,
Coffee
"Hey
milk.
guys, what up, Coffee?
A
How are you
new
doing
one, shout
today?"
out. Coffee milk.
What was that?
I said that's a new one. Shout out coffee milk.
Yeah, shout out Coffee Milk. Appreciate you. Haven't seen you here before, but as always, guys, appreciate you tuning in. Drop those comments. We had Stevie and Patty in here before. Apologies. Hopefully they find their way back into the stream. But yeah, no, I completely agree. Vientos, it's good to see. Vientos mashes the cover off the ball. We all know that. It's just his swing is a little long at times. His pitch selection is not great. He expands the zone, and he just looks
Well,
like
the
a rookie
homer
up
he
there.
hit, was it the homer he hit last night that he hit almost off the ground? It was
Yeah, it
pretty
was
low.
yeah. Yeah, so it's hard to say what Vientos' ceiling really is on this team. I still can't say that I see him here long term. I just can't do it. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see. Like I said, you can't fool people. But as always, make sure you guys are locking in. Follow us on X at Interstate Mets. Like we were saying on the previous stream, we got Hollywood Nelson on here. Follow him on X as well at Amish Country Met, doing some great things. Even got a little TMZ live snippet coming up. So make sure you guys are tuning into that, talking Kylie Jenner. So I love
I
that. That's
never
awesome.
thought on any planet that I would be discussing Kylie Jenner on TV for anything, for any reason whatsoever.
The world works in mysterious ways, but that's a known fact. Follow me on X and Instagram at CPNY Sports as well. You know where to find us. You know what our YouTubes are. If you're here, you have the links are not going to be in the description right now, but we will put them in the description after this because we had to toss up this studio real quick following the technical difficulties. But let's transfer the talk over to Ronny Mauricio. And I was given the little rundown on Ronny Mauricio's first 17 games in the majors before the stream just happened to end randomly. Ronny Mauricio has had 17 games under his belt in the major leagues so far. He has played 13 of those at second base, and he's played 4 of those now at third base, which begs the question, what is the Mets' future plan for Ronny Mauricio position-wise? Now, he's done pretty well in the field so far. He's got no errors under his belt at second base. He's had a couple of, I wouldn't say highlight plays, but he's turned a couple of decent double plays with Lindor up the middle. And he's only committed in his 4 games. He's committed 1 error at third base. His range looks great, and his arm looks even better at third base. Those are positives. My worry about his frame. His frame is, I guess, a little bit more suited to be a third baseman rather than an everyday up the middle kind of guy. But you never know. Like we just said, the world works in mysterious ways to where he could probably be, when it's all said and done, we'll sit here and bash on his ability to play second base, and he ends up being a Gold Glove second baseman. We'll look back one day on this stream and be like, "Oh, we were really wrong." So you just never know. But in his short sample size so far, he's looked pretty good in the field. Where do you project him at? Do you think? Is Beatty done? Like, I don't want to say Beatty's done in terms of his career, but is Beatty becoming an afterthought a little bit? And I know it's hard to say that, but you have a surplus of guys right now, man.
It's hard to say it, but it's kind of true. Like he's played so bad that it's hard to bank on him for next year. And like we've said over and over again, we have so many guys battling out for a couple of positions, and if he isn't going to step up, then he's going to be an odd man out. And it's a decision Stearns has to make. I mean, do they decide to stash him in the minors at the start of next year and try somebody else? Do they sell low on him? Like, I find it hard to believe we're going to sell low on him because I don't see what team would give us much for Brett Beatty at this point. So I don't know. That's going to be a tough call for Stearns to make. Mauricio is tough because he doesn't have the body of a second baseman. He just doesn't. He does. I mean, we've seen obviously the O'Neal Cruzes of the world, Ellie De La Cruz. They have that same frame at short, but he can't play short. Lindor's our shortstop. Third base, he seems more body type wise suited for. But do they think he's got the glove to play there? I don't know. I mean, more reps there couldn't hurt. Maybe he goes and plays winter ball again and plays third again like he did last year. We'll see what they do in the spring. Again, I know people probably don't want to hear it because he's played decent, but he could be trade bait. You never know. Maybe a team really likes what they see from him and they offer us a solid starting pitcher or something of that ilk. We're in a position where we can't really say no to anything because we have all these guys and we have to move pieces. We're not going to be able to just keep everybody. It's just not realistic. So, I mean, I hope he sticks around, but it's just tough because, I mean, you got guys in the minors that are going to knock on the door quicker than we may even think. I mean, Jet Williams is rising up the ranks super fast. Drew Gilbert, same thing. I know he's not an infielder, but still that kind of another guy that we'd have to find a spot for. Acuna has struggled a bit since coming over, but he still looks like he can be a player. These guys are all going to be in AAA next season at some point, and they might be like guys that we consider at the end of the year next year, depending on how things are going. So I don't know. It's a lot to consider. If I could see him anywhere, it's at third base. Mauricio, that is. Maybe the outfield. Maybe they decide to go look at that again and throw him out there, but I don't know. That doesn't seem likely. I've always seen that fit being more. If anybody was going to move to the outfield, it would be Beatty, and put him in left field. But Beatty's not even playing to where you want to even think about that either. So I don't know.
You don't really even get a drop off in terms of the glove at this point with Ronny Mauricio playing third base because that's not like Britt Beatty showed out at third base either.
No.
So, and in terms of Ronny Mauricio potentially still being trade bait, which very well could be, like we said, we've been saying, you still have the Shohei Ohtani report saying that MLB executives around the league truly do believe the Mets are going to be the highest bidders for Ohtani. And it's going to be his personal preference of where he wants to play, whether it's going to be the West Coast or the East Coast. So that all comes into play because you look at Shohei Ohtani, he just had elbow surgery. He's not seeing the field. He's just going to be a certified DH for this team if he comes over. So there's so many moving variables for this coming off season to figure out with guys that are already here. The Mets have a surplus of guys. They have to reallocate resources. They can either stash, like you said, or try to revamp the staff via trade, right? Because I highly doubt, I mean, they can trade position player for position player and get a little bit more MLB ready talent to help them contend. But really, who's going to take on a guy like Brett Beatty and give you anything of significance at this very moment with how he's looked? So
you'd have to add a lot to that package.
Yeah. It's an interesting topic, but I've liked Mauricio's bat. Obviously, he took an 0 for 5 yesterday against the Phillies. He's had a hit in his last 4 games before that. I think he had a couple games with 2 base knocks each game. I was looking at the game logs. I've been tapped in with the Giants football stuff. I haven't really been tapped in with the Mets, but you know how that goes. And I'm not going to even discuss the Giants. We're not doing that today. I'll be on Locked On Locks later today with Josh. We'll discuss football, but
if you don't know, Chris's Giants takes are very, very homerific. I don't even know what the word is, but he's a Giants homer. Let's put it that way.
I'm a lot more confident in the Giants' future than the Mets' future. I don't know why, I don't know why. But we got some comments in the chat. Stevie Mac. What up, Stevie? Sorry about the earlier stream. The technical difficulties it cut out. I'm glad you find your way back. I wouldn't be surprised if at least 2 of those guys get traded this offseason. We have 52 shortstops waiting in the wings that could play third soon as well. Jet Williams is one of those guys. We'll see what happens with Acuna. Like you said, Nelson, in terms of how he projects out, been a little bit disappointing since he came over, but he's going to be in the MLB at any rate now next year. So we're going to see what happens and how he's used. Coffee Milk says Brett Beatty's on a 9-game strikeout streak. Yeah, it's rough, man. It's really rough. I feel for the kid. Um, a guy who's already admitted that the lights are a little bit kind of bright in New York, and it's sort of hard to focus in on the task at hand. And we know how good of a talent he is down in the minor league systems. I mean, he can rake at any level, but that drop off or when the talent gap starts to emerge, it's like you got to figure it out at some point. Some guys have it. Some guys are built for this in New York, and some guys aren't. And it's not a knock on Brett Beatty's talent if he's not. Maybe he just finds a new home somewhere. I'm not saying that we're going to automatically trade Brett Beatty, right? But I'm just saying, like, it wouldn't be surprising if he finds a lower key kind of organization, right, in terms of the bright lights and everything, and performs well over there because there's just not much pressure. Not as much pressure, I should say. And then we got Easy in the building. What up, Easy? Not having the body of a second baseman doesn't mean he can't play there. I agree. He's looked really good at second base.
Yeah, for sure.
He's looked great. His arm is a huge plus, which is why I think that I would want to try that out at third base because it really does help to have that kind of arm at third base. But no, I agree. If he's more comfortable at second base up the middle with Lindor, then so be it. Jet Williams can go play the outfield or wherever they're going to slot him in at. And then the Mets are going to have to do a lot of position moving forward with the guys coming up. And that's just going to be the bottom line. That's what happens when you have a surplus of talent. Guys are going to have to find new homes in the field. There's only 9 slots. So agree. Appreciate you, MEZ, tuning in. Let's move on a little bit. Let's talk about Pete Alonso first, because the juicy part of this is what Tommy Pham said, I think. So we'll save that for last. Let's talk about Pete Alonso and the latest on his contract talks and what you've heard. Nelson, kind of dive into what we've been hearing about Pete Alonso in the recent talks. I think the Mets have been talking actively with Alonso. I think the disparity is the number of years that Alonso wants. I think the number is 10, if I'm not mistaken. But what's the latest on that? Give us the news.
Yeah, I mean, the news came out a couple days ago, I think it was, that he wants that the news was that they were pretty much on the same page as far as money, but years they were apart on. And then it came out that he wanted like 10 years. The Mets obviously don't want to give him 10 years, which I can't blame them for that. I feel like they're going to meet in the middle somewhere, whether it's 8 years and a couple years of options, whether it's 7 years and some options, or an opt-out somewhere to like appease him for not getting the 10 years. Like I could see something along those lines. So I think it's good. I don't know if anybody was taking it negatively, but I think it's good news that they're there on the money. I think the years they can figure out. Like, I don't think the years are going to be a problem to figure out. There's tons of different options they can do. They can do player options. They can do TM options. They can do mutual options. They can figure all that out. I personally would not give him 10 years. He's kind of crazy if he thinks he's going to get that. 10 years guaranteed just isn't a no for me. I know when I pose, I heard you mention on the first stream, I've been posing a lot of questions on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And one of the things I asked, would you give Alonso 10 years? And there was quite a few people that said they would, which isn't really a surprise. I know Alonso has a ton of fans, Alonso, that they want him here no matter what. That's what I've gathered for the last few days. Alonso has a ton of people in this fan base that they will give him anything he wants, the years, the money, it doesn't matter. I'm not one of those guys. I've admitted that, but I do want him to stay. And I think it'll work out. I think they really are going to be close. I think once Stearns gets in the mix after the season's over, they'll hammer it out.
No, I agree. I 100% agree. Emizi says he's nuts if he thinks they should give him 10 years. Agree. I mean, his camp has to ask for it. Like, you're not doing Pete Alonso justice if you're not at least asking for it from the Mets just to see if they'll budge on it. Maybe they come in the middle of 9 years. I mean, the difference between 8 and 10, maybe it's a 9-year deal. I don't know how it works out, but I'm definitely not giving him 10 years as well. I love me some Pete Alonso, great player, franchise guy. All the rumors that were swirling around in terms of is he the toxic guy in the clubhouse were debunked by reporters, and now we got obviously Tommy Pham's comments to back up his work ethic among the other guys that he mentioned. So yeah, no, I agree, but 10 years is really far fetched for him. Coffee says Alonso is a goner if he wants a 10-year contract. He's another Giancarlo Stanton or Miguel Cabrera waiting to happen. I agree, and it's not a knock on those guys' talents. It's like you will get a good 5-6 years, and even 8 years is probably too much for Pete Alonso, but that's what you need to do to get that long-term contract done. But 8 years if 8 years is already too much, 10 years is beyond too much. And that's not a knock on these guys' talent, is that they're just out of their primes. These guys who are home run hitters, I mean, they're not in a position to produce as much. It's just the bottom line. We've seen it with, I mean, Albert Pujols really did turn it on in the last couple of years to get that home run goal. But even that Pujols contract with the Angels, I mean, that didn't really work out. You see Mike Trout, another guy who's already gone down the drain in terms of his contract. It happens time and time and time again, which is why teams like the Tampa Bay Rays usually do not do that, right? They usually don't do it.
And they're broke.
And they got burned. And they got burned. They got burned by the one time they decided to do it. And we all know that situation that's happening over there, which is really unfortunate. Yeah, so it's just the nature of the beast in terms of sports. I agree with you. Pete Alonso has I will say Pete Alonso has a lot of fans that are Pete Alonso homers. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Pete Alonso can do no wrong. Pete Alonso's great. I mean, his glove is Gold Glove caliber. Like people will tell you this stuff. Like, I like to keep it objective, just like you do. I love Pete Alonso, but I'm not giving him 10 years because he's a power hitter. I can definitely see the drop off in average. He's a career 255 hitter, just about. He'll give you the 40, 50 home runs. His average will drop. That is by nature a power hitter. He will hit 230 and give you 40 bombs, 50 bombs. It's just the nature of the beast. So, if Alonso won't budge from 10 years, I look to move him. Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, Nelson, that they are going to come into an agreement with him. They are going to come to that middle ground because I don't think Alonso really has much, I guess, wiggle room in terms of negotiating and like presenting his case for 10 years. Like, he doesn't really have that kind of leverage over the Mets, to be honest with you.
Unless
not that I think, at least.
Unless he really thinks another team is going to give him 10 years, I don't see it.
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't see Alonso. 10 years for Alonso is a lot. It's not like he's not old, but he's not young either. It's just, I just don't. It scares me. I mean, we've talked about it. I didn't want to give him more than like 6 or 7 years. I'm willing to budge to 8 because I think that's what it's going to take. But 10 years is hell no for me.
Yep, I agree. This is pertaining to the whole Brett Beatty discussion. He says Dela Cruz is struggling as well. Should they look to move him? I'm not ready to give up on Beatty. Dela Cruz is different than Beatty in the sense that Dela Cruz, I mean, who do the Reds have surrounding Dela Cruz? That team is overachieving this year, and he is a huge bright spot. Like his worth to the Reds is more than Brett Beatty's worth to the Mets. Let's be honest with you. And that's how I view it. I'm not sure if you agree with that, Nelson, but that's how I view it.
No, I agree with both of you. I agree that I'm not ready to give up on Beatty necessarily either. I just think the circumstances of the situation may lead to them moving on from Beatty just because we have a numbers crunch and he might be an odd man out. Dela Cruz is a different story because they don't have like 50 shortstops over there like waiting to push him out. He's their guy. He's their star. And no, they should definitely not. And they don't have the money either to go buy replacements for players. So they need to keep prospects. So no, they should definitely not give up on Dela Cruz. And in a different world, we probably aren't talking about getting rid of Beatty. It's just with what happened at the trade deadline and everything else, it's just a situation where he might be an odd man out. He might not be. Maybe they decide we're gonna keep going and keep him. But yeah, De La Cruz. Yeah, I know De La Cruz is struggling, but they're not. Again, two different worlds. The Reds aren't in a position to say De La Cruz is hitting 150. We're just done with him. The Mets, on the other hand, might be in more of a position to say that with Beatty. Not that I agree that they should, but it's just the reality of the situation. Uh-oh. Chrissy Mike Troubles is back. Oh, man. Well, wait a second while Chris gets it. Is it back?
Can you hear me?
Yep, now we're good.
It never ends. It never ends, man. Well, yeah, no, I said you're spitting facts. Like, honestly, the situations are a little bit different. I get that he's struggling hitting 150. The situations are different. The Mets are in a better position in terms of replacing him if they really want to, and that's what happened at the trade deadline. That's why they went on and got that talent. And I'm not saying, like, I'm not sitting here and telling you that I'm giving up on Brett Baty. That's not what I'm doing. It's just like you said, it's just the nature of the beast, and that's how the positions are right now for the Reds. They're not in the position to replace De La Cruz as easily. But Rendon's a huge contract that just went down the drain.
Horrible contract. And let's not put that one. That's not an Epler move, by the way. I know people like to knock Epler for that one. That was Artie Moreno all the way. He wanted Rendon no matter what, and he gave him that contract. It was a stupid move, and they're regretting it. They're regretting everything. I mean, the Shohei thing didn't work out. It's just horrible.
Was it stupid at the time that Rendon was killing on the Nationals? I mean, he was a great ball player for the Nationals.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. There was still a lot to give him. I don't know. I just didn't. Not many other teams were knocking down that door to give him what he got. It's not like there was necessarily a bidding war for the guy.
Well, it's crazy what the Rendon thing is because I've been keeping up with it, and like, what's the deal with the transparency issues that I don't know if it's him, I don't know if it's the team, but he's been supposedly playing on a hairline fractured whatever, shin bone or whatever it was. Like, what's the deal with that? That's a horrible look. I mean, in terms of the transparency of it all.
That franchise is a mess.
Jeez.
That them and the Padres are all over. And the Padres are playing well lately, but those two teams are just internally, there's like a lot of chaos there. There's a little bit of chaos with the Mets, but the Padres and the Angels are on a whole new level.
Yeah. So before we move on to Tommy's Pham's comments, final number projection. Yeah, final number projection on Pete Alonso.
I'd say 8 years. I'm gonna say more than I think he should get. 8 years, maybe 28 million a year. 28, 29, something like that.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think 28's right there with what I think he's going to get to. I mean, just enough to reset that market. Not reset it, obviously, but to become the highest paid, first baseman. I think Steve Cohen will do that and just call it a day. Moving on, last topic before we get out of here. Obviously, a little bit of a short stream. Sorry for the technical difficulties with it all. Apologies. Thoughts on Tommy Pham's comments? I had it here. I don't know if I still have it or not, but yeah, here we go. Tommy Pham called out his Mets teammates for being, quote unquote, the least hardest working group of position players he's ever worked with. But he added that he had a lot of respect specifically for Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, and Brandon Nimmo, saying that their work ethics were fine. What's going on here? Who do you think? I don't want to say who you think because that's just speculating. That's the rumor mill. But I mean, when you look at the position players that the Mets had in the first half, it kind of makes you scratch your head and wonder, right? Outside of those three guys that he named, like, I don't even know how to phrase this question. Just give me your overarching thoughts of what he said.
I mean, it's all speculation. Obviously, if you do a process of elimination here, so you take out those guys because he said they have a good work ethic. He's not talking about Francisco. I highly doubt he's talking about Francisco Alvarez. That kid, everything you've heard of about him, He works his ass off. He's always looking at tape. He's always working with the pitchers. So let's pretty safely say you can rule him out. Who's left? Marte's been hurt, so I don't think he's talking about Marte. He's not talking about himself. That leaves Brett Beatty, McNeil.
Escobar.
What's that?
Escobar and Cano.
I doubt Escobar. I mean, Escobar was gone by early June. I highly doubt you're talking about Escobar. Canna, maybe. I don't think. I mean, the way Canna's gone to Milwaukee, and like, I don't know if you've seen his numbers, but the dude's killing it in Milwaukee. I don't know.
Typical.
And he's not an everyday player. I don't know what. It's hard to say who the hell he was talking about. To be honest, Tommy Pham's a character. He likes to spout off at the mouth a little bit. I'm not saying he's lying. I'm just saying when a team's losing, these things get blown out of proportion a little bit at times. A lot of these guys were here last year, and nobody said anything about their work ethic last year. So I don't know. Maybe he read into something more than, or maybe he's right. I don't know. I don't like to speculate on these things because I told you in a comment on X, it's like, I don't like it when they do it to the guys that I know is BS about, and it's Lindor, Alonso, even Nimmo to an extent. Like when they say stuff like that about them, I don't like it. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say it about guys. You know, I'm not a McNeil guy, but I'm not going to sit here and say McNeil's lazy because I don't know that.
Yeah.
So who knows? I think a little bit it's being blown out of proportion. The whole Lindor comment is being blown out of proportion too, about him teaching him to work harder or something. Who knows what he meant by that? Like, I don't think Lindor's ever had a hard work issue. I think maybe he learned something from Pham about maybe going above and beyond a little bit that he wasn't doing or something. I don't know. Who knows? But it's all speculation. It's all dumb. I wish these guys would keep their mouths shut. But in a season like this, where everything's off the rails, guys are going to talk. Reporters are going to dig. That's their job. They're going to poke and prod and try to get quotes and juicy quotes for juicy articles to get clicks. And, you know, Mets for clicks is a thing. So they're going to do it. All in all, though, I think it's mostly, I mean, to me, the buck stops with Buck. Like, if there's an issue with any of that, it's a Buck problem. I know people don't want to hear it, but Buck's the damn manager. Like, why isn't he addressing these things if it's really a problem? So I don't know. I'm done. That's where I'm done with Buck. That's my overall, like, I'm just done with Buck. The show must go. Exactly. So I don't know. That's my thoughts on it.
I think it's all hearsay, but I do respect Tommy Pham. I mean, if anyone forgets, Tommy Pham was the one that was pretty much our best hitter when everything was going wrong. Tommy Pham was one of the best Mets players. He turned it on. I think he's a no BS type of guy. Therefore, I think that I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt in terms of having some truth to what he's saying. But I'm not going to sit here like you said. I'm not going to sit here and say McNeil's lazy. I'm not going to say Marte's lazy. I'm not going to say any of these guys are lazy because we don't really know. We don't know what context it was. Buck Showalter actually addressed this comment, and he said something along the lines of Tommy Pham, has a right and, is entitled to his opinion, but different things work for different guys. So like you said, maybe it might be a difference in I guess, philosophy. But like I said, I got to give him the benefit of doubt. He was in the clubhouse. I don't think he would just say that a month after he gets traded randomly. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know why he would shoot himself in the foot in terms of having a chance to come back to the Mets, because he was a guy that was like, if you need a bench bat, you can go back and sign Tommy Pham. But as Coffee said here, he just lost that chance pretty much with those comments. So
I don't understand it either. It's weird. And I don't know, like you said, it might just be an interpretation thing. He might have interpreted things different than somebody else. Maybe the teams he's played on in the past, they do things a little different. they go at it a little harder than the Mets did, and he considers that lazy. I don't know. Maybe it could be anything, or he could be full of shit. Who knows? I mean,
Well,
I
we'll
think
see soon.
I'll see that. MEZ said, "How could McNeil not be a hard worker?" I'm not saying we're not saying that. I refuse to say, and I'm not a McNeil guy, but I refuse to say that McNeil's the guy he was talking about, just because I don't know that for sure. I know a lot of people are speculating that. We'll see. If they choose to move on from McNeil this offseason, I think that's very telling.
Yeah. I was gonna say because Cohen doesn't play that crap. I mean, like if something gets up to him and these are true, these reports are true, or these comments are true, and you can definitely see McNeil out the door if indeed it's true. We're not saying that it is true. I'm just saying like this has the potential to fuel off-season moves because like I don't think Cohen is playing those type of games. Like especially with David Stearns coming in, like he's going to give Stearns the green light to go do whatever he needs to do to clean house of whoever doesn't really want to be there, is not putting the work in to be there. So I don't know. McNeil doesn't strike me as a lazy guy either. Marte's been obviously battling injuries ever since the end of last year. It's hard to speculate on him as well. I don't know, man. It's confusing. I don't know why Tommy Pham didn't say that right off the bat when he got traded and he decided to wait. I don't know. I agree. Tommy Pham is
Maybe he
kind of
just
a
thinks the
hothead, but
pitchers were lazy. Maybe the pitchers are all lazy.
I think he said specifically position group, so I don't
Oh,
know.
did
I
he?
mean,
I don't know.
yeah, I think he said specifically the pitching, the position group. So I don't know. I don't know, man. This Mets season, like you said, it's Mets for clicks. I mean, you all hear about Knicks for clicks, which season's starting up soon. Can't wait. But the Mets certainly do. Like this is the nature of the beast. The reporters are going to take anything and grasp onto it. I think it is sort of a big deal though because you have an MLB player that's calling out his former team. Of course, that's going to draw a lot of attention. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Stevie Mack providing some comedic relief. He's surprised he didn't smack anyone for being lazy. Um, but yeah, man, it's September 22nd. We're this close to getting away from the season and just having this debacle of a season just be done. So we're very close. I can't wait personally. I love Mets baseball. I love watching Mets baseball. This season needs to end though. Like I'm sorry. I'm ready for the off season,
No
ready for
doubt.
the winter meetings, and I'm ready for trades to happen. That's it. I'm
Don't be
ready. So
surprised if more stories like this start popping out though, because people are looking for a reason why this season went the way it is, and Martino hasn't dug his crummy little fingers into this yet. So he's dying to freaking say something and write an article. So just be on the lookout for more of this garbage.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. Honestly, this is it. This is all we had. I really do hope the Alonso extension gets done because it wouldn't be an Interstate Mets Report show without me playing this. Pack your bags, sir. Steve Cohen just bought you. So I want to use that as soon as Pete Alonso gets extended. It's my favorite. But yeah, that's it from us. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Shout out the regulars on the stream, Stevie, Coffee. Thank you for tuning in. MEZ, thank you for popping in as well. All the homies that didn't get a chance to pop in today that are the regulars, though, shout out you guys for always tuning in, supporting us. You're very welcome for the Mets content. We're here to provide. We're here to engage with you all, give you the latest topics. It's a slow season. We're going to be busy and have our work cut out for us when the off season starts to hit and we get a little bit more juicy news. We'll be breaking down the trades. We'll be breaking down free agency, signings, all that good stuff. So keep rocking with us. Keep tuning in. Appreciate the support. Like I said, we got Hollywood Nelson here on X at Amish Country Met. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to his YouTube channel. He's almost at 250 subscribers. So make sure you get him there. I'm almost at 150 subscribers. At CPNY Sports, make sure you go ahead and subscribe in bottom right hand corner if you're watching on my stream, and vice versa. If you're watching on my stream, go subscribe to Nelson's YouTube. I'm on X and Instagram at CPNY Sports, just in case you want to follow me on any other sport that I decide to spew my propaganda with, especially relating to New York Giants and the New York Knicks, because I will be spewing a lot of Knicks propaganda this season. Follow me or follow us on X at Interstate Mets. Nelson's been doing a great job in terms of keeping that page up and running and interactive. I've been really busy, so I apologize. I got to get, some graphics up there as well on my end. But yeah, appreciate you supporting the stream. If you're in here, hit that thumbs up, drop a comment. Obviously, next go around on Tuesday, make sure you drop in the comments. We always display the comments. We're not here to ignore anyone's comment, regardless of whether you agree with us or not. It really doesn't matter. We're here to tell a story on our end, but we want to hear what you all think. So we'll definitely be engaged with you all. Other than that, Nelson, what you got? Any last words? Any last words from the TMZ? When is that coming out? Give us an update on that.
No, I mean, if you care to watch it, you got to check your local listings for whenever the hell TMZ Live airs. Here, where I am, it airs at 6:00 tonight. Other than that, it will drop on their YouTube. I'll put the link out whenever it hits. They told me within the next few days. So I imagine it'll be, I don't think they want to get too far behind on their pop culture crap. So it'll be sooner than later. So yeah, check that out. It was interesting. It's only like 15, 20 seconds, but I'm on there talking about Kylie Jenner because I'm the expert on Kylie Jenner, obviously.
Amish Country Mets fan times Kylie Jenner, just the cross collaboration we needed. So good stuff, man. Great stuff. I appreciate you tuning in. Like I said, apologies for the difficulties, but we prevailed. We got it done. Have a good weekend, everyone. Let's go Mets as always, and let's inch forward to the offseason. Let's go Mets. See you all later.
Thank you for watching the Interstate Mets Report, streaming Tuesdays at 5 p.m. and Fridays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to @Amish Country Mets